playing, Lane?
I didn't think it polite to listen, sir.
I'm very sorry for that, for your sake. I don't play accurately. Anyone can play accurately. I play with wonderful expression. When it comes to the piano, sentiment is my forte. I keep science for life.
Yes, sir.
And speaking of the science of life, have you got the cucumber sandwiches cup, Lady Brown?
Yes, sir.
Hello! Hello, yes, welcome to the party. I am so glad you've all chosen to socialise with me tonight. That being said, you will be mostly ignored. Such time as I deem it worthy to interact with you, which may happen at any moment, stands in passes. So do be on your toes, or don't! Standing on one's toes looks foolish. And I may accept foolishness, if it is clever. So, you may be here, enjoying this company, but do only speak when spoken to, yes? Yes, well done, yes! Until then, enjoy the tea and refreshments. By the way, Lane, I noticed from your book that on Thursday evening, when Mr. Worthing was down with me, 8 bottles of champagne are entered as having been consumed.
Yes, sir. 8 bottles and a pint.
Why is it that at Badger's establishment, the servants invariably drink the champagne? See, I'm speaking to you, you may answer. You have no idea, Lane?
I attribute it to the quality of wine, sir. I've often observed in married households that the champagne is rarely of a first-rate brand.
Dilly, is marriage so demoralizing as that? Good talk.
I believe it is a pleasant state, sir. I don't have much experience myself up to the present, but I have been married once. But that was the consequence of a misunderstanding between myself and a young person.
I don't know that I much care about your family like that.
No, sir, it is not an interesting subject. I wouldn't think of it myself.
Very natural, I'm sure. That'll be all, Lane. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Lane's views on marriage seem somewhat lax. Really, if the lower orders can't be depended upon to set a good example for us, what on earth is the use of them? They seem, as a class, to have absolutely no sense of moral responsibility.
Mr. Earnest Worthing.
Ah, my dear Earnest, how are you? What brings you up to town?
Oh, pleasure, pleasure. What else should bring one anywhere? Eating as usual, I see, Algy.
I believe it's customary at this point of the evening in good society to take some slight refreshment. Where have you been since last Thursday?
In the country.
Shropshire is your county, is it not?
Shropshire, yes, of course. Hello, why all these cups? Why cucumber sandwiches? Why the reckless extravagance? Hardly be for these, yes. Worth a cup of tea?
Oh, merely Aunt Augusta and Gwendolyn.
How perfectly delightful.
Yes, that's all very well, but I'm afraid Aunt Augusta won't quite approve of your being here.
May I ask why?
My dear fellow, the way you flirt with Gwendolyn is perfectly disgraceful. It's almost as bad as the way Gwendolyn flirts with you.
I'm in love with Gwendolyn. I've come to town expressly to propose to her.
I thought you said you'd come up for pleasure. I call that business.
How utterly unromantic.
I really don't see anything quite so romantic in proposing, do you? No, exactly. To be in love is very romantic, but there's nothing romantic about a definite proposal. Why, one might be accepted. One usually is, I believe, and then the excitement is all over. The very essence of romance is uncertainty. If I get married, I shall certainly try to forget the facts.
I've no doubt about that, dear Algy. Divorce court was specially invented for people whose memories are so curiously constituted.
Well, there can be no speculation on that subject. Divorces were made in heaven. Please don't touch the cucumber sandwiches! They were made specially for Aunt Augusta and these guests.
You can eat them all the time.
That's a very different matter. She is my aunt. Have the bread and butter. The bread and butter is for Gwendolyn. Gwendolyn is devoted to bread and butter.
And very good bread and butter it is.
Just going to go ahead and eat it. Yeah, that's so then you're going to eat it all. The hates that he's married to already. You are not married to already! And I don't believe you ever will be.
Why on earth do you say that?
Well, in the first place, girls don't flirt with the men they intend to marry. Girls don't think it right.
That is nonsense.
Hey, do you think that's nonsense? You don't think that's nonsense? Exactly. Wait, what? Wait, no. What? It isn't! It is the great truth. It is why one can account for all the extraordinary number of actors one sees all over the place. And in the second place, I don't give my consent.
Your consent?
My dear fellow, Gwendolyn is my first cousin, and before I allow you to marry her, you must first clear up the whole question of Cecily.
Cecily? What on earth do you mean? I don't know anyone with the name of Cecily.
Someone hand me that cigarette case on the table there. Mr. Worthing left it in the smoking room the last time he dined here.
Do you mean to say you've had my cigarette case all this time? I wish to goodness you'd let me know. I've been writing frantic letters to Scotland Yard about it. I was very nearly offering a large reward.
No, I wish you would offer one. I have to be more than usually hard up.
There's no good offering a large reward now that the thing's found.
I think that's rather mean of you, Ernest, I must say. But it makes no matter. But now that I look at the inscription inside, I find that the thing isn't yours after all.
Of course it's mine. You've seen it 100 times and you have no right whatsoever to read what's written inside. It's very ungentlemanly thing to be a private cigarette case.
Oh, it is absurd to have a hard and fast rule about what one should read and what one shouldn't read. Half of modern culture depends on what one shouldn't read.
I'm quite aware of that fact. I don't propose to discuss modern culture. It isn't the sort of thing one discusses in private. I simply want my cigarette case back.
Yes, but this isn't your cigarette case. It is a present from someone of the name of Cecily, and you just said you don't know anyone of that name.
Well, if you want to know, Cecily happens to be my aunt.
Your aunt?
Yes, and a charming old lady she is too, lives at Tunbridge Wells. Just give it back to me, Alan.
Then why does she call herself Little Cecily if she's your aunt and lives at Tunbridge Wells? From Little Cecily with her fondest love.
My dear fellow, what on earth is there in that? Some aunts are tall, some aunts are not tall. That's meant that surely an aunt may be able to decide for herself. You seem to think that every aunt should be exactly like your aunt. That is absurd. For the sake of you back my cigarette case.
Yes, but why does your aunt call you her uncle? To dear Uncle Jack from Little Cecily with her fondest love. There is no objection, I admit, to an aunt being a small aunt. But why an aunt, no matter what her size may be, would call her nephew her uncle, I can't quite make out. Besides, your name isn't Jack at all. It is Ernest.
It isn't Ernest, it's
What? You've always said that your name was Ernest. I have introduced you to everyone as Ernest. You answer to the name of Ernest. You were the most earnest-looking person I have ever met in my life. It's perfectly absurd. You're saying your name is Ernest and it's on your cards. Here is one of them. Mr. Ernest Worthing, B4 the Albany. I shall keep this as proof that your name is Ernest. Should you ever try to deny to me, or to Gwendolyn, or to anyone else?
Well, my name is Earnest in town and Jack in the country. The cigarette case was given to me in the country.
Yes, but that does not account for a small ancestor who lives at Tunbridge Wells calls him her uncle. Does that make sense to you? No! Tell me the whole thing! Oh, I may mention that I've always suspected you of being a secret and confirmed Bunburyist, and now I'm quite sure.
Bunburyist? What on earth do you mean by Bunburyist?
I shall reveal to you the nature of that incomparable expression as soon as you are kind enough to inform me why you are Ernest in town and Jack in the country.
Well, produce my cigarette case first.
Here it is. Now produce your explanation and pray make it improbable.
My dear fellow, there's nothing improbable about my explanation at all. In fact, it's perfectly ordinary. Old Mr. Thomas Cardew, who adopted me when I was a little boy, made me guardian to his granddaughter, Miss Cecily Cardew, in his will. Cecily, who addresses me as her uncle for motives of respect that you could not possibly appreciate, lives at my place in the country under the charge of her admirable governess, Miss Prison.
And where is that place in the country, by the way?
That's nothing to you, dear boy. You're not going to be invited to. I will tell you candidly, the place is not in Shropshire.
I suspected that, my dear fellow. You see, I have Bunbury all over Shropshire on 2 separate occasions. Now go on. Why are you Ernest in town and Jack in the country?
My dear Algy, I don't know that you'll be able to understand my real motives. You're hardly serious enough. When one is placed in the position of guardian, one must adopt a very high moral tone on all subjects. It's one's duty to do so. And as a high moral tone can hardly be said to account very much for one's health or one's happiness, sit up. What? In order to get up to town, I have often prepared to have a younger brother by the name of Earnest, who lives in the Albany and gets into the most dreadful scrapes. That, my dear Algy, is the whole truth, pure and simple.
The truth is rarely pure and never simple. Modern life would be very tedious if it were either. Modern literature, a complete impossibility.
That wouldn't be at all bad.
Literary criticism is not your forte, dear fellow, don't try. What you are is Bunburyist. I was quite right in saying he was Bunburyist. You're one of the most advanced Bunburyists I have ever met.
What on earth do you mean?
You have invented a rather useful younger brother in order that you may come up to town as often as you wish. I have invented a perfectly invaluable permanent invalid called Bunbury, in order that I may go down into the country as often as I choose. Oh, Bunbury is perfectly invaluable. Why, if it wasn't for Bunbury's extraordinary bad health, I wouldn't be able to dine with you at Willis's tonight, for I've really been engaged to Aunt Augusta for more than a week.
I haven't asked you to dine anywhere with me tonight.
I know. You're absurdly careless about sending out invitations. I think it's rather foolish of you. Nothing annoys people so much as not receiving invitations.
I think you'd much better dine with your Aunt Augusta.
I haven't the smallest intention of doing anything of the kind. To begin with, I dine there on Monday. And once a week is quite enough to dine with one's own relations. In the second place, whenever I do dine there, I'm treated as a member of the family, and I am sent down with either no woman at all, or two. Can't do anything with two women at the same time. And in the third place, I know perfectly well who she'll play next to tonight. She's going to place me next to She's going to place me next to Mary Farquhar, who always insists on flirting with her own husband across the dinner table, and that is not very pleasant. In fact, it's not even decent. And that sort of thing is enormously on the increase. The amount of women in London who flirt with their own husbands is perfectly scandalous. It looks so bad. It's a bit washing one's own clean linen in public. Besides, now that I know that you're a Bunburyist, naturally, I want to talk to you about Bunbury. I want to tell you the rules.
I'm not a Bunburyist at all. If Gwendolyn accepts me, I'm going to kill my brother. Indeed, I think I'll kill him in any case. Cecily is a bit too much interested in this. It's rather poor. So I'm going to get rid of Ernest, and I strongly advise you do the same with your invalid friend, the absurd name.
Nothing could induce me to part from Bunbury, and if you ever do get married, which seems to me to be extremely problematic, you'll be very happy to know Bunbury. Any man who marries without knowing Bunbury has a very tedious time of it.
That is nonsense. If I ever marry a charming girl like Gwendolyn, and she is indeed the only girl I ever saw in my life who I would marry, I certainly won't want to know Bunbury.
Then your wife will. You don't seem to realize that in marriage, 3 is company and 2 is none. Ah, that will be Aunt Augusta. Only relatives and creditors ever ring in that Wagnerian manner. Now, where are you going? What are you going? What? No. Stop. Get out. Now, if I promise to get rid of Aunt Augusta for 10 minutes, in order that you may have the opportunity of proposing to Benjamin, may I dine with you tonight?
I suppose so, if you want to.
But you must be serious about it. I hate people who are not serious about meals. It's so shallow.
Lady Bracknell and Miss Fairfax.
Good afternoon, dear Algernon. I hope you're behaving very well.
I'm feeling very well.
That's not quite the same thing. In fact, the two things rarely go together.
Dear me, you are smart.
Oh, I am always smart, am I not, Mr. Worthing?
You are quite perfect, Miss Fairfax.
I hope I'm not that. It would allow no room for development, and I intend to develop in many directions.
I'm sorry to be a little late, Algernon, but I was obliged to call on dear Lady Hardwick. I haven't been there since her poor husband's death. I've never seen a woman so altered. She looks quite 20 years younger. And now I'll come with tea and one of those nice cucumber sandwiches you promised me.
Certainly, Aunt Augusta.
Won't you come and sit here, Gwendolyn?
Thanks, Mama, I'm quite comfortable where I am.
Good heavens, Lane! Why are there no cucumber sandwiches? That'll be all, Lane. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
I'm greatly distressed, Aunt Augusta, about there being no cucumber sandwiches.
It really makes no matter, Algernon. I had some crumpets with Lady Harbury, who seems to me to be living entirely for pleasure now. Oh, and now, quite a treat for you tonight, Algernon. I'm going to send you down with Mary Farquhar. She is such a nice woman, so attentive to her husband. It's delightful to watch them.
I'm afraid, Aunt Augusta, that I shall have to give up the pleasure of dining with you tonight after all.
I hope not, Algernon. You put my table completely out. Your uncle will have to dine upstairs. Fortunately, he's accustomed to that.
It is, I need hardly say, a terrible disappointment to me, but the fact of the matter is I've just received a telegram to say that my poor friend Bunbury has taken very ill again. They seem to think I should be with him.
It's very strange. This Mr. Bunbury seems to suffer from curiously bad health.
Oh yes, poor Bunbury's a dreadful invalid.
Wait. I must say I think it is high time Mr. Bunbury made up his mind whether he was going to live or to die. His shee-shying with the question is quite absurd, nor do I in any way approve of this modern sympathy with invalids. Illness of any kind is hardly a thing to be encouraged in others. Health is the primary duty of life. I should be much obliged if you would ask Mr. Bunbury from me as to be kind enough to relapse on Saturday.
Listen,
Would I rely on you to arrange my music for me?
I'll speak to Bunbury, Lady Augusta, if he's still conscious, but I think I can promise they will be all right by Saturday. Of course, the music is a great difficulty. One plays good music, people don't listen. And if one plays bad music, people don't talk. But I'll go on the program that I've drawn up, if you'll kindly step into the next room for a moment.
Thank you, Algernon. It's very thoughtful of you. I'm sure the program will be delightful after a few expurgations. It's French songs I cannot possibly allow. People always seem to think that they are improper. And I look shocked, which is vulgar, or laugh, which is worse. But German sounds a thoroughly respectable language, and indeed I believe it is so.
Charming day it's been, Miss Fairfax.
Pray don't talk to me about the weather, Mr. Worthing. Whenever somebody talks to me about the weather, I feel quite certain they mean something else. That makes me so nervous.
I do mean something else.
I thought so. In fact, I am never wrong.
And I would like to be allowed to take advantage of Lady Bracknell's temporary absence.
I would certainly advise you to do so.
Miss Fairfax, ever since I met you, I have admired you more than any girl I've ever met. Since I met you.
Yes, I'm quite well aware of the fact. And I have often wished, in public at any rate, that you had been more demonstrative. For me, you have always had an irresistible fascination. Now, even before I met you, I was far from indifferent to you. We live, as I hope you know, Mr. Worthing, in an age of ideals. And it has always been my ideal to love someone of the name of Earnest. There's something in that name that inspires absolute confidence. Why, as soon as Algernon first told me that he had a friend called Earnest, I knew that I was destined to love you.
You really love me, Gwendolyn.
Passionately.
Darling, you don't know how happy you've made me.
My own Earnest.
But you don't really mean to say that you could love me if my name wasn't Ernest.
But your name is Earnest.
Yes, I know it is, but supposing it was something else. You mean to say that you couldn't love me then?
Ah, that is clearly metaphysical speculation. Like most metaphysical speculations, it has very little reference at all on the actual facts of real life as we know them.
Personally, darling, to speak quite frankly, I don't much care for the name of Ernest. I don't think it suits me at all.
Oh, it suits you perfectly. It is a divine name. It has a music on its own. It produces vibrations.
Well, really, Gwendolyn, I think there are a lot of other much nicer names. I think, for instance, Jack. A charming name.
Jack? Jack? Jack. What do you think of the name Jack? It's not that great. No, there is very little music at all in the name Jack, if any at all indeed. It does not thrill. It produces absolutely no vibrations. I have known several Jacks. They were all, without exception, more than usually plain. Besides, Jack is notorious domesticity for John. I pity any woman who was married to a man called John. Is there one here? Oh dear. Will likely never be allowed to know the singular pleasure of a simple moment's solitude. No, the only truly safe name is Earnest.
I must get christened at once. I mean, Gwendolyn, we must get married at once.
Married, Mr. Worthing?
I mean, surely. You know that I love you, and you've led me to believe, Miss Fairfax, that you are not absolutely indifferent to me.
I adore you. But you haven't proposed to me. There's nothing been said at all about marriage. The subject has not even been touched on.
Well, may I propose to you now?
I do think it would be an admirable opportunity. And to spare you any possible disappointment, Mr. Worthing, I think it only fair to tell you quite frankly beforehand that I'm fully determined to accept you. Yes, Mr. Worthing, what have you got to say to me?
You know what I've got to say to you.
Yes, but you don't say it.
Gwendolyn, will you marry me? My own one, I've never loved anyone involved with you.
Oh yes, but men often propose for practice. I know my brother Gerald does. All my girlfriends tell me so. This gentleman surely has. Look at him. Tell me you've practiced proposing, yes? Of course, absolutely, you see. Ernest, what wonderful eyes you have. I do hope you will always look at me just like this. Especially when there are other people present.
Mr. Worthing, rise, sir, from your semi-comic posture. It is most indecorous.
Mamma, I must beg of you to retire. This is no place for you. Besides, Mr. Worthing is not quite finished yet.
Finished what? May I ask?
I am engaged to be married to Mr. Worthing, Mamma.
Pardon me, you are not engaged to anyone. When you do become engaged to someone, I will inform you of the fact. An engagement should come on a young girl as a surprise, pleasant or unpleasant, as the case may be. It is hardly a matter she could be allowed to arrange for herself. And now, Miss Worthing, I have some questions to put to you. While I make these inquiries, you, Gwendolyn, wait for me below in a carriage.
But, Mamma!
In a carriage, Gwendolyn! Gwendolyn, the carriage!
Yes, Mamma.
I feel bound to tell you that you are not down on my list of eligible young men. However, I'm quite ready to enter your name should your answers be what a really affectionate mother requires. How old are you?
31.
Very good age to be married at. I've always been of the opinion that a man who decides with marriage to know either everything or nothing. Which do you know?
I know nothing, Lady Bracknell.
I'm very pleased to hear it. I do not approve of anything that tampers with natural ignorance. Ignorance is like a delicate, exotic fruit. Touch it and the bloom is gone. This whole theory of modern education is radically unsound. Fortunately, in England at any rate, education produces no effect whatsoever. If it did, it would provide a serious danger to the upper classes and probably lead to acts of violence. What is your income?
Between 7,000 and 8,000 a year.
In land or investments?
In investments, chiefly.
Satisfactory.
I do own a country house with some land, of course, attached to it, about 1,500 acres, but I don't depend on that for my real income.
Oh, a country home! Well, how many bedrooms? Oh, well, that point can be cleared up afterwards. You have a townhouse, I hope. A girl with a simple, unspoiled nature like Gwendolyn could hardly be expected to reside in the country.
I do own a house in Belgrave Square, though it is let by the year to be lots.
Oh.
I can get it back whenever I like at 6 months' notice.
What number in Belgrave Square?
149.
The unfashionable side. I thought there was something. However, it can easily be altered.
Do you mean the fashion or the side?
Both if necessary, I presume. What are your politics?
I'm afraid I really have none. I'm a liberal unionist.
Oh, they count as Tories. dine with us, or come in the evening, at any rate. Now to minor matters. Are your parents living?
I have lost both my parents, Lady Bracknell.
To lose one parent, Mr. Worthy, may be regarded as a misfortune. To lose both looks like carelessness. Who is your father?
I'm afraid I really don't know. The fact is, Lady Bracknell, I said I had lost both my parents, but it would be nearer the truth to say they seem to have lost me. I don't know who I am by birth. I was found.
Found?
The late Mr. Thomas Cardew, an old gentleman of very kindly and charitable nature, found me and gave me the name of Worthing because he happened to have a first-class ticket to Worthing and bought the time. Worthing is a place in Sussex. It's a seaside resort.
Where did the gentle gentleman at first has to do seaside resort find you?
In a handbag.
Aha. Aha, no. A handbag?
Yes, Lady Bracknell, I was in a handbag. Someone black leather handbag with handles to it. An ordinary handbag, in fact.
Oh, wait, Mr. Cardew, come across this ordinary handbag.
In the cloakroom at Victoria Station. It was given to him in mistake for his own.
The cloakroom? At Victoria Station?
Yes, the Brighton line.
Now that is immaterial! Mr. Worthy, I confess I feel somewhat bewildered by what you've just told me. To be born in a handbag, whether it had handles or not, seems to me to display contempt for the ordinary decencies of family life that reminds one of the worst excesses of the French Revolution. And I presume you remember what that unfortunate movement led to? Yes. And that's the particular locality in which the handbag was found. A cloak at a railway station might serve to conceal some social indiscretion. Has probably, indeed, been used for that purpose before now, but it can hardly be regarded as an assurance of hailing from recognized high society.
Might I ask you what you would advise me to do? I would do anything to ensure Gwendolyn's happiness.
I would strongly advise you, Mr. Worthy, to acquire some relations as soon as possible, and to make a definite effort to produce at least one parent before the season is quite over.
I don't see how I could possibly manage to do that. I can produce the hatchback at a moment's notice. It's in my dressing room at home. I really think that should satisfy you, Lady Bracknell.
Me, sir? What has it to do with me? You can hardly imagine I would dream of allowing my only daughter to marry into a cloakroom and form an alliance with a parson. Good day, Mr. Worthy.
Good day.
Did you go off all right, little boy? You don't mean to say that Gwendolyn refused you. I know it is the way she has. She's always refusing people. I think it's rather ill-natured of her.
Oh, Gwendolyn's as right as a trivet. As far as she's concerned, we're engaged. Her mother is perfectly unbearable. I've never met such a cork. I don't know quite what a morgan is like, but I'm very sure that Lady Bracknell is one. I beg your pardon, Algy. I shouldn't talk of your own aunt this way.
Oh, my dear fellow, I love hearing my relations abused. It is the only thing that makes me put up with them at all. Relations are simply a tedious fact, without the remotest idea of how to live, not the slightest instinct on when to die.
That is nonsense.
It isn't!
Well, I won't argue about the matter. You always want to argue about things.
That is what things were originally made for.
Upon my word, if I thought that, I'd shoot myself. You don't think there's any chance of Gwendolyn becoming like her mother at about 150 yet, do you, Algy?
All women become like their mothers. That is their tragedy. No man does, that's his.
Is that clever?
It is perfectly phrased.
I am sick to death of cleverness. You can't go anywhere anymore without meeting clever people. The The whole thing's an absolute public nuisance. I wish we had some good food left.
Oh, we have. Cheers.
I should extremely like to meet them. Good evening. That's where the Deccan country. What do you fools talk about?
The clever people, of course.
What fools?
By the way, did you tell Gwendolyn the truth about your being Earnest in town and Jack in the country?
My dear fellow, the truth isn't quite the sort of thing one tells to a nice, sweet, refined. What extraordinary ideas you have about the way to behave to a woman.
The only way to behave to a woman is to make love to her if she is pretty. And to someone else if she's plain.
That is nonsense.
What about your brother? What about the profligate Earnest?
Oh, before the week is out, I shall have got rid of Earnest. Say that he died in Paris of apoplexy. Lots of people are dying of apoplexy quite suddenly, aren't they?
Yes, but it's hereditary, my dear fellow. It's the sort of thing that runs in families. You'd much better say a severe chill.
Very well. My poor brother Earnest is carried off quite suddenly in Paris by a severe chill. Thank you very much.
But I thought you said Miss Cardew was a little too much interested in your poor brother Earnest. Won't she feel his loss a great deal?
Oh, that's quite all right. Cecily's not some silly romantic girl, I'm glad to say. She's got a capital appetite, goes along walks, pays absolutely no attention at all to her lessons.
Oh, I would rather like to see Cecily.
I will take very good care you never do. She's excessively pretty, she's only just 19.
And have you told Gwendolyn that you're an excessively pretty ward who's only just 19?
No, one doesn't just blurt these things out to people. Cecily and Gwendolyn are perfectly certain to be extremely great friends. Why, I'll bet you anything, half an hour after they've met, they'll be calling each other sister.
We can only do that after they've called each other a lot of other things.
Miss Fairfax.
Oh, Gwendolyn, upon my word.
Algy, kindly turn your back. I have something very particular to say to Mr. Worthing.
Gwendolyn, I don't think I can allow this.
Algy, you always adopt a strictly immoral attitude towards life. You're not quite old enough for that.
My own one.
Ernest, we may never be married. From the expression on Mamma's face, I fear we never shall. Very few parents nowadays pay any regard to what their children say to them. The old-fashioned respect for the young is quickly dying out. Any influence I ever had over Mamma, I lost at the age of 3. But although she may prevent us from becoming man and wife, and I may marry someone else and marry often, nothing she can possibly do can alter my eternal devotion to you.
Dearest Gwendolyn.
The romantic story of your origin, as related to me by Mamma with unpleasing coins, has naturally stirred the deeper fires of my nature. A Christian name has such an irresistible fascination. The simplicity of your character makes you exquisitely incomprehensible to me. Your town address in the Albany I have. What is your address in the country?
The Manor House, Walton, Hertfordshire.
How long do you remain in town?
Till Monday.
Good. Algy, you may turn round.
Thanks, I've turned around already.
You will let me see you to your carriage, my own darling.
Certainly.
Tomorrow, Lane, I am going to Bunbury.
Yes, sir.
I probably shall not return until Monday.
Yes, sir.
So I hope tomorrow will be a fine day, Lane.
It never is, sir.
Lane, you are a perfect pessimist.
I do my best to give satisfaction, sir.
There's a sensible, intellectual girl, the only girl I ever cared for in my life. What on earth are you so amused at?
Oh, just a little anxious about poor Bunbury, that's all.
If you don't take care, your friend Bunbury will get you into a serious scrape one day.
I love scrapes. They're the only thing that are never serious.
That is nonsense. How do you never talk anything but nonsense?
Nobody ever